Yo, what is good, y'all? Welcome back to another video. And I am gonna start it off like this. Simply put, console gaming will die, and PC gaming will eventually become the main target audience. Here's why. So, immediately we draw to PlayStation and Xbox. And look, you probably thought from my previous statement, y'all probably thought, oh, like he meant that those two consoles are dead. Nah, that's not what I mean. What I really am trying to get at is that those two consoles are heading towards a direction that's gonna pull away from their target audiences and head more towards PC. And the reason is very, very simple. Consoles are not consoles anymore. They're PCs. They're PCs with different architecture. That's what this is becoming. Back then, what was considered a console was a bunch of basically parts that they were able to get off that were not as expensive at the time and combine those things together to make now what we know as a console. But now those parts are getting more and more expensive, more better, have more PC like architecture, and like, you know what I mean? It's getting to the point where they're going to start charging a premium, in which they definitely are coming next year if PlayStation releases a new console, which is the PS6, and then Xbox's Xbox Helix. It's really gonna move people towards the PC market because those prices are gonna cost at least $1,000 or more, given the amount of parts going in that are pretty good in terms of hardware. I'm gonna be real. And so that's definitely one of the main reasons. And I feel like people are gonna start to feel like they would want to have a choice in what they pick now moving into that, because before it was simple to get a console because it was so like inexpensive. It was easy to get. There wasn't much competition as to what you could like get in terms of something else that might be as better. It was simply just Xbox, PlayStation, and if you really like the Nintendo Switch, you could also get that too. But that was another thing in and of itself. But now you got them entering a market that is just entirely different. So I feel like people are gonna get tired of paying a subscription, especially when they have to pay a premium of $1,000 or more to simplify its existence. You know what I mean? When you could spend like maybe that same amount of money for free online on PC, on Steam, and have a better catalog on Steam than on PlayStation. And look, now what it's looking like is that these games are becoming online. So physical media is dying. So what does that say to the consumer? Well, for those that care about physical media, you got certain websites like GOG and other websites like that that preserve games and they care about all that stuff, right? And then you also got your emulators on PC where you could just emulate games. There's people that can emulate Nintendo games, Sega games, PS3, PS4, and like, you know what I mean? It's really getting to the point where consoles are becoming more irrelevant as time goes by. And we're at the final breaking point with this year because the PS5 and Xbox Series X are at its last moments. People will not stick around as much given that the newer consoles are like so expensive. And notice, imagine knowing that a half of the player base for PlayStation was still stuck on the PS4 rather than the PS5. Notice that, given that time. And then all of a sudden, everyone has jumped to PlayStation 5, right? But That's after years though. So imagine jumping from a PS5 to a PS6. It's gonna be even longer. And by then they feel like they might as well invest in a PC if they're gonna spend a premium on a PlayStation. The only way they're gonna be able to sell PlayStation consoles to an extent is if they get the hit in their wallets, which is them booting the price down to at least like 800, 900 to justify a little bit, but they're gonna charge more than that because RAM is expensive. Every other PC part is expensive. GPUs are expensive because of the AI thing going on, right? So, what's a simple way to move into the PC market for cheap? DDR4. You get yourself a DDR4 motherboard, DDR4 RAM, get you 32 gigs of that, and then you get yourself a solid mid-tier GPU, way better than a PS5 GPU, way better, and you should be just fine. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think, like, when it comes to going to PC, it's not it's not easy, but it's not as hard, especially seeing that now these consoles are moving towards straight up PC level hardware. Like, people are gonna find other options. Like, those won't feel like they're the only options anymore because you can't even simply justify as the cheapest way to get into gaming. It's not anymore. It's so expensive. But gaming feels so expensive as a whole right now in general. But with that being said though, is it really the best thing for a player in 2027 moving forward, or 2028, when they could buy themselves a handheld PC or a laptop or even a desktop and either have it pre-built or build it themselves and have it as a better level than the PS5 already, or even better than the PS6 potentially? You know what I mean? Like, at this point, I think they're just digging their own grave, and I think console might head towards really just being a software on PC specifically. Like, they might try to be like Steam, or and that's what I think Xbox is doing right now because they're investing into the PC ecosystem, not the only Xbox ecosystem. No, bro, they're fully going towards PC. I genuinely think PlayStation will do the same thing because they're gonna suffer such a big blow in sales for the console that they might be forced to invest into PC just because of how bad the circumstances are. It's literally gonna become the only wave, literally the only, and it's just gonna be competition with Steam and like Microsoft Store or Xbox Store, whatever, right? Like, and other things. I genuinely think the only real console competition, or not even console, forget consoles, because I'm gonna be real. That's not what I meant to say. The only real actual competition that will exist is competition between Nintendo and PC. That's it.